Hey you, yeah you, you're lying to yourself right now. Not on purpose, not because you're fake, but because somewhere along the way you picked up a mask and forgot it wasn't your real face. Look around. See them? The ones moving in slow motion, nodding along, following rules they never wrote? That's the herd. And Nietzsche smelled the rot from a mile away. He saw what most people don't. The world isn't full of people living. It's full of people pretending to be alive. And you're caught in it too, aren't you? No need to answer, I already know. But here's the thing. Nietzsche didn't just point at the problem and walk away. He dropped a knife right at your feet, for steps to cut through the illusion and carve out the real you. This isn't self-help fluff. I'm not here to pat you on the back and send you on your way. This is a gut punch, a wake-up call that stings. Stay asleep? You're already dead. Just another ghost drifting through a life that never belonged to you. But that's not what you want, is it? Didn't think so. So, wanna wake up? Good. Grab that blade. First cut. What's the biggest lie you need to slash loose? 1. The herd's hungry. You ever hear the story of Galileo? 1633. The guy looks through his telescope, sees the truth, the earth moves around the sun. But the world, they weren't ready. They didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They threw him in a dungeon and told him to shut up. And you think things have changed? No. Nietzsche had a name for this madness. The herd. Not harmless little sheep. A mob with teeth. They say they want truth, but the moment you break from the script, they turn. You felt it, haven't you? The shift in the room when you speak your mind. The silence. The side eyes. The forced smiles that don't quite reach their eyes. That's them smelling blood. See, most people don't think. They repeat. Hand-me-down beliefs, recycled opinions. Their whole identity, a patchwork of what the world fed them. And if you dare to step out of line, they see it as a threat. You might make them look at themselves, and nothing terrifies them more, so they attack. Mock you, question you, pull you back in. They'll dress it up as concern. Are you sure this is the right path? But make no mistake, they're sharpening their knives. Step 1, run. Not because you're weak, but because they will devour you if you don't. But here's the real question. What happens when you stop running? Because running only gets you so far. You can escape the herd, but what about the chains they left inside you? What about the fear that still grips your throat? You ever feel it? That moment when you want to say something, want to do something, but you don't? Not because you're unsure, not because you don't know what you want, but because you feel watched. Like there's this invisible hand clamping down on your throat, squeezing the words out of you before they even reach your lips. It's subtle. So subtle you don't even question it anymore. Maybe it's when you wanted to stand up for yourself, but you heard that little voice whisper, "Don't make a scene." Maybe it was when you had an idea, something raw, something brilliant, something yours, but before you could even share it, you saw the look on their faces. That smirk, that tiny, dismissive shake of the head. So you swallowed it, and in that moment, you lost. Because here's the truth Nietzsche saw, the truth nobody tells you. The herd survives by keeping you weak. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about truth. They care about control. They would rather bury you alive than let you rise above them. And they do it with guilt, with shame, with fear. They convince you that your power, your ambition, your fire, your hunger is something to be ashamed of. Be humble. Tone it down. Don't be arrogant. But what they really mean is, don't remind us of what will never be. Because the second you embrace what's inside you, the second you stop apologizing for being more, they can't stop you anymore. So what are you waiting for? Permission. You'll be waiting forever, because the herd will never hand you the key. You have to break the chains yourself, rip them off, smash them, burn them to ashes, because the longer you wait, the deeper their poison sinks in. The more your fire fades, the more your own power rots inside you. And if you let that happen, if you stay silent, stay small, stay afraid, you die before you ever had the chance to live. So tell me, what's the first chain you're going to break? 2. The abyss stares back. Ever caught your own reflection at the wrong moment? Not when you're posing, not when you're ready for it, but when you least expect it. Maybe in a dark window, passing mirror, a still puddle on the ground, and for just a split second, you don't recognize yourself. It's fast, barely noticeable, but in that brief moment, something cold slithers down your spine. That's the abyss staring back at you. Nietzsche saw it, felt it, and unlike the rest of the world, he didn't look away. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. You've heard that one before, right? But everyone forgets the next part. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss gazes back into you. You think you know yourself? You think you're just a collection of good intentions, of dreams, of neatly packaged emotions? No, there's something else inside you, something deeper, something darker, that fear, that rage, that chaos that churns beneath the surface. Most people run from it, deny it, ignore it, pretend they don't feel it clawing at the edges of their mind. They think it makes them civilized. They think it makes them good. But here's the truth Nietzsche saw. The darkness you refuse to face will own you. It will seep into your words, your choices, your life. You'll see it in the way you hesitate when you should act, in the way you bite your tongue when you should speak, in the way you let people walk over you again and again and again. And if you don't confront it, if you keep pretending it's not there, one day it takes over, not loudly, not violently, quietly, like a parasite. It wraps around your spine and whispers in your ear, shaping you into someone you swore you'd never become. It makes you weak, passive, a shadow of yourself. But if you face it, if you stare deep into that abyss and don't flinch, you might just find something else staring back. Not fear, not weakness, power. Because the moment you acknowledge your darkness, it stops controlling you. It stops dictating your choices. And instead, you control it. You harness it, channel it, bend it to your will. Because the people who change the world, the ones who carve their names into history, they weren't nice. They weren't harmless. They were the ones who knew exactly what they were capable of and used it. So you've seen the abyss. You've felt that cold, creeping presence in the back of your mind. Now comes the hard part. You either conquer it or it conquers you. Nietzsche didn't believe in comfort. He didn't believe in safety, because comfort is what keeps you weak. Every fear you run from, every doubt you shove into the shadows, it doesn't disappear. It waits. It grows. It festers in the dark, feeding off your hesitation. Most people spend their lives avoiding the fight, hoping the fear will lose interest. But fear never loses interest. It watches. It learns. It waits for the perfect moment, when you're tired, when you're desperate, when you're at your lowest. Then it strikes. You ever wonder why some people just snap? Why a man wakes up one morning, looks in the mirror, and doesn't see a person anymore, just a shell. Because at some point he stopped fighting. He let the chaos win. You don't get that luxury, not if you want to become something more. See, Nietzsche knew something most people don't. Your demons? They're not trying to destroy you. They're trying to make you strong. They test you, push you, beat you into the ground, not to break you, but to see if you'll get back up. The ones who rise, they're different. Their eyes burn. Their presence commands. They walk into a room and people feel something shift. Because these people, they don't run from the fire. They step into it. They wrestle their shadows. They grab their fear by the throat and say, "You work for me now." That's how it happens. That's how chaos becomes power. Not by avoiding it. Not by pretending it doesn't exist. By grabbing it, shaping it, using it as a weapon. Because make no mistake, it is a weapon. And if you don't use it, someone else will. 3. The God-shaped hole. Everything you've known, everything you've been told about right and wrong, about what matters and what doesn't, what if I told you? It's gone. Not fading, not shifting, gone. Imagine this, you wake up one morning and step outside. The world looks the same. The streets, the people, the sky. It's all there, but something's off. You hear whispers of something missing. You turn a corner and suddenly, you're standing in front of a cathedral, or at least what used to be one. The roof is caved in. The stained glass is shattered. Dust swirls in the empty air where voices once sang. And there, in the ruins, stands a man, holding a book with blank pages. No rules, no laws, no divine hand to guide him. Just the void. That's where Nietzsche's hammer struck the hardest. God is dead. Not a victory cry, not a celebration, a warning. For centuries, humanity had a crutch, something to lean on, something to tell them what to do, what to believe, who to be. And now there's nothing. No blueprint, no instructions, just an empty world, waiting to be written. Most people can't handle that. They panic. They search for something, anything to fill the hole. Some chase money, some chase fame, some drown themselves in distractions. Because the alternative is too terrifying to face. To stand at the edge of the abyss and realize that no one is coming to save you. No higher power, no grand destiny, just you. And the question that will define everything: what the hell do you do now? Do you collapse under the weight of freedom? Or do you take that empty book and start writing? Because here's the truth: if you don't fill the void, something else will. The herd will. The system will. The voices of 1,000 other people, all desperate to shove their beliefs, their fears, their chains into your hands. And if you let them, you'll never be free. All right, the void is staring at you. No rules, no script, just emptiness. Most people freeze here. They cling to whatever's closest: religion, politics, money, status. Anything to escape the terror of true freedom. But you're not most people. And that means you have two choices. You can crumble, fade, let the abyss swallow you whole. Or you can do what Nietzsche dared you to do. You think he left you drowning in meaninglessness? No. He handed you the greatest weapon of all creation. Not the kind handed down to you. Not the kind someone else wrote in a holy book or etched into law. Your own. Imagine standing at the edge of a world that doesn't exist yet. You're holding the spark, the raw, untamed, terrifying power to create something new. Your own values, your own purpose, your own reason for breathing. This is Amor Fati, Nietzsche's final challenge. Love your fate, not suffer through it, not endure it. Love it. Take every scar, every failure, every ounce of pain, and mold it into something greater. This is what separates the strong from the weak. The weak curse their suffering. They want someone to fix it, erase it, make it go away. The strong, they take their suffering, and they wield it. They burn it into fuel. They use it to rise. Every time life knocks them down, they forge themselves sharper. The world doesn't give them meaning, they become meaning. This is what Nietzsche called the Übermensch. Not some fantasy, not some unreachable god. A person who creates their own destiny. And now the choice is yours. Stay in the ashes or build the fire. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No meaning is waiting for you. No fate is written for you. But if you have the courage, you can forge your own. For the eternal trap, you wake up, same bed, same morning light dripping through the blinds, same thoughts crawling back into your skull like unwanted ghosts. And then it hits you. You've done this before. Not just yesterday, not just last week. Forever. Every decision you've made, every failure, every mischance, every regret. You are trapped in an infinite loop, forced to relive the exact same life over and over and over. This isn't a nightmare. This isn't some twisted punishment. This is Nietzsche's greatest test, the thing that separates the weak from the unstoppable. He called it eternal recurrence. Imagine a demon comes to you in the dead of night. It leans in close, breath cold against your skin, and whispers, "This life you are living right now, you will live it again, exactly the same. Every pain, every mistake, every wasted hour, not once, not twice, but forever." Would you fall to your knees in terror, or would you laugh in its face? Because here's the truth, you're already living it. Every second you waste, every dream you bury under fear, every excuse you whisper to yourself at night, you are locking yourself into the same story, over and over, until the day you die. And if that idea makes your blood run cold, if the thought of reliving your life on repeat makes you want to scream, then you have one choice. Change it now, because this is your wake-up call. The life you are living today, if you had to relive it forever, would you celebrate it? Or would you beg for a different fate? Be honest, because if your answer is anything but yes, then it's time to break the cycle, time to take control, time to rewrite the story. The world is silent. Ash drifts through the air like the ghosts of a past self you no longer recognize. And then you step forward, not as who you were, but as who you were meant to be. The herd? Gone. They don't control you anymore. The abyss? You looked into it, wrestled with it, and now it's part of you. The flame? It's lit, and it's not going out. The cycle? Shattered. This is the moment Nietzsche was leading you toward. Not comfort, not safety, not some feel-good fairy tale ending. Power. Because that's what this was always about, wasn't it? Not just power over others. That's small. That's weak. This is power over yourself, over your mind, over your fears, over your excuses, over the version of you that would have settled for less. But you're not settling anymore, are you? Look around. The world isn't what you thought it was. It's not a prison. It's a battlefield. And you are the storm. Every step you take from this moment forward shakes the ground beneath you. Every word you speak commands attention. Every decision you make bends reality to your will. You are not a cog in a machine. You are not another faceless shadow in the crowd. You are a force of nature, and the world is shaking. Most people won't make it this far. They'll listen, they'll nod, and then they'll go back to the herd, back to the routine, back to sleep. They'll pretend they didn't hear this, pretend it didn't light something in them, pretend they're fine with another day of nothing. But you know better. Because if you're still here, if you're still listening, something inside you is burning. A hunger, a rage, a refusal to stay the same. But here's the truth. Most people will watch this and do nothing. They'll walk away, make excuses, drown out that voice inside them screaming for more. Will you? Or will you prove you're awake? Prove you're not like them. Prove that when you look into the abyss, it's not fear staring back. It's fire. Drop "I choose fire" in the comments. That's your test. That's your line in the sand. Let's see who's really alive.